All right, let's get talking. The curse is burst and we explode the code. All right, so right now you're looking at the Dead Sea Scrolls, or one of the Dead Sea, a fragment of the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a copy of the Hebrew Bible written in Hebrew before vowel marks were added. Now, this is important because vowel markings can affect the reading of the text. Now, I don't read Hebrew, but I know that these are the Dead Sea Scrolls. It says here, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Why are they important? So now if we go here, and click on this here, what you see that we have a word which is rendered aniyah, and they say it means groaning or lamentation or sorrow. Hebrew is written from uh, right to left. So we see this letter here, this letter, this letter, and this letter. 1, 2, 3. There are 4 letters we see. And here we see it again, and we see a little dot here. Now going back, and this is from Strong's Hebrew Lexicon. It's number H591. Let's see what this H592 says. Anyways, so H592 is has to do with lamentation. If we go to H591, look it up. Now we see these extra, go back, extra marks added. We see the same number of symbols, 1, 2, 3, 4 symbols, but they are the same. And now they're telling us it means ship or men of ships. Okay. So going back again, and again, and again, hopefully I can get back to where I was. Okay, well, it's not letting me, but we'll go over here and we'll look at, this is the Aleppo Codex. This is a more recent version of the Bible in Hebrew. And this, you see these different little marks, little dots that look like Braille. This is how vowels are indicated in Hebrew. But without the vowels, you cannot know whether or not the word should be groaning or lament or mourning, or whether or not the word would be ships. Now we're going to go here. To some people were having a discussion. And cookie thing out the way. This is where we read, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So I'm not going to go to this everything that they discussed much, but let's see, go down. Hope it still shows. It's supposed to show more than this. Okay, let's see. Going back up. See if I can find it. Somebody asked the question. Okay, here we go. Using the reference at hand, JPS Torah commentary on Deuteronomy, page 237, note on the verse. Melkelberg and some modern commentators suggest reading Ho Oniot. I don't speak Hebrew, so I'm not pronouncing it right. Ho Oniot as in mourning, in a lamentful condition. They understand Oniot as Aniot, an abstract plural of Ania, mourning, lamenting. So then we have this, where somebody makes note that other than the initial vowel point, both Hebrew words identical. H591 equals ship. See, you see the word, see it here. And H592 equals mourning. Although it would seem odd since the letter word otherwise only appears twice in the Hebrew Bible as part of the expression lamenting and mourning, Isaiah 29, I guess chapter 29, verse 2, and Lamentations chapter 2, verse 5. If it was H592, then one fulfillment would be the Josephus Wars of the Jews, book 6, chapter 8, whatever this means. I don't know what this means. Does it mean paragraph? I'm not sure, but whatever, 384. The Romans find the Jews are worth little to nothing as slaves, and the young males were deported to Egypt to work as slaves in the Egyptian mines. chapter 9, 418, there's no mention of ships, of course. Okay, so we see that the same word is used here. So why is it assumed to be ships? For that, we have to go to Deuteronomy 28:68 and go to the LXX, which is Greek. Let's see if I can find the original Greek. Okay, I don't know where. Let me see if I can find it in Greek, because LXX does mean the Septuagint or the Greek version. Here we go. Even though I don't speak Greek, I can somewhat read the letters, but here it is in Greek. And let me see. Okay, so I know that I do know a few Greek words, enough to be able to speak it. But I know that kurios means Lord. And I know that Egoptone, this here is Egypt. This is the gamma or the G. Now this is a P. This is a T. This ends in Greek look like V's. And see if I can find the word. Okay, ploios is ploios. I'm just reading it how I think it should be spelled, pronounced, but this is the word for ships. So the reason why, so apparently by some tradition, the word ships was used. Does this mean that this is the correct rendition? Because actually Greek is the older version of or the oldest Bibles that we have are actually Greeks, are actually in Greek, and they claim that there was a Hebrew version that the Greek was taken from. However, obviously, if the Greek is the oldest text that we have available, then what they're doing is they're using subsequent Hebrew translations, or all owe themselves or go back to what was decided in the Greek. So someone decided to render the word ploios, or they decided that ploios would be the Hebrew word for ship. And they chose that ambiguous word that can also mean morning. Does it mean, now maybe they thought it would be a nice play on words, that you will be mourning on ships? I don't know. But in the case to show that this does not have to be the interpretation, we have like a lion they are at my hands and feet, which there. This is Psalm 22:16. And once again, there's a dispute on whether or not it should be pierced or like a lion. So how do we get this? JPS Tanakh says, in 1917, for dogs have encompassed me, a company of evildoers have enclosed me. Like a lion, they are at my hands and my feet. King James Bible says, for dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. And this is used supposedly as showing the supposed prophecy of Jesus' hands and feet being pierced. Now, it doesn't say they will do it. Okay, then you have people saying right here, like a lion. How do we get these differences? And we go down here. We have what I notice, again, not a reader of Hebrew, but I see this last letter here is a long line, and this letter here is a short line. So it looks like it could very well have been a case of bad handwriting, because it was the Bible was handwritten. So if someone didn't draw this letter, or didn't draw this letter long enough, then you would get this reading. And if they drew it too long, you would get this reading. So what is this here? What it says to dig. Verb meaning dubious, perhaps bore or dig or hew. Assyrian, it says karu, fell trees. And here we see it saying, they have bored, digged, hewn my hands and my feet. And this is interesting because some of the other Semitic cognates you see here saying be short or cut off, and we know that they didn't say that Nobody thinks that they cut Jesus' hands off. And they have, i.e., rounded off. They have rounded off. They're not like, what does this mean? They're not sure about it. Let's see. It means a number of things. To dig, to plot, generally to bore open. But this is one of the things, is to show that there is disagreement on what this actually meant. And Jews will argue that it's like a lion. Going back. Now let's see, what verse is this again? This is Psalm 22:16. So LXX, Psalm 22 and then 16. So it says, according to Wikipedia, it was Psalm 21:17 in the Greek Septuagint and Latin Vulgate, and it says, "They have pierced my hands and my feet." Let me go all the way down. And it's not that I know what it says in Greek, but obviously in Greek, the words are going to be different. But one of these must mean pierced. Okay, so now we go here with this thing about the code. So the idea of a deity handing someone a code to live by we will ever open. Closing this out. Come on, Mr. Hammurabi. Need you to show up. Okay, it's not wanting to show up for some reason, so I'm going to have to type it in again. Hammurabi code. And here we see Hammurabi, who is standing here, and he is receiving from the god Shemesh, or the sun god, the code of Hammurabi. And it says the code of the Hammurabi Code of Laws, a collection of 282 rules, establishes standards for commercial interactions and set fines and punishments to meet the requirements of justice. Hammurabi's code was carved into a massive finger-shaped black stone pillar that was looted by invaders and finally rediscovered in 1901. So This idea of having something written on stone, this is the language or the writing it was written in. This is known as modern times as cuneiform. This is what the Sumerians used for their non-Semitic language. And there's three parts of it. Says, like the code of Hammurabi, they feature other Mesopotamian codes. So like the code of Hammurabi, they feature prologues and epilogues. The code of Ornamu has a prologue. The code of Lipit Ishtar, a prologue and an epilogue. And the laws of Eshnuna, an epilogue. So another thing we would go into as we close out this, we will go into and this is a Jewish person speaking. It says the novel introduction, and this is where we burst the curse. The novel introduction of blessings into our treaty with God. Professor Rabbi Pamela Barmash. Some would say, oh, well, she's a woman. I mean, shouldn't teach. Anyways, so we're going down to blessings and curses. Okay, it says the vassal treaties and copy are composed of a number of parts, including 1, a recounting of the historical relationship between overlord and vassal. 2, the rules that the vassal must obey. 3, oaths by the vassal to obey the treaty. 4, curses about what will befall the vassal if the vassal violates the stipulations of the treaty. The curses are elaborate. In one vassal treaty in particular, the vassal treaty of Esarhaddon, may have served as a model for the curses in Deuteronomy 28. The order of the punishments in Deuteronomy 27 to 34, which otherwise may seem random, follows the order of punishments in the vassal treaty of Esarhaddon, 681 to 669 BCE, sections 38a to 42. Judah was a vassal state to Assyria during this period, and the Judahite scribes would have been familiar with this text. The order of the curses in the original is far from random, but reflects the position in the pantheon of the gods who were invoked in the curses. So we see here, it says, 38a, may Anu, king of the gods, rain disease, exhaustion, sleeplessness, anxiety, and poor health upon all your household. 39, may sin, the brightness of heaven. This might say sin, but it's a God that just happens to have a similar name. It doesn't mean sin like wrongdoing. The brightness of may sin, the brightness of heaven and earth, clothe you with leprosy, and thus may he forbid your entering into the presence of the gods or kings, saying, roam the desert like the wild ass and the gazelle. May Shamash, the light of the heavens and earth, not judge you justly. May he blind you. May you walk in darkness. May Ninurta, chief of the gods, fell you with his swift arrow. May he fill the plain with your corpses. May he free your flesh to the eagle and jackal. May Venus, the brightest of the stars, make your wives lie in the lap of your enemy before your eyes. May your sons not possess your house. May a foreign enemy divide your goods. And then they go over to here. May the Lord strike you with the Egyptian disease, with the hemorrhoids, boils, and itch, from which you will never recover. The Lord will strike you with madness, blindness, and stupefaction. You shall grope at noon as the blind grope in the dark. You shall not prosper in your endeavors, but shall be abused and robbed day in and day out, with none to offer help. If a woman is betrothed to you, another man shall lie with her. If you build a house, you will not live in it. If you plant a vineyard, you will not harvest it. Your ox will be slaughtered before your very eyes, and you shall not eat of it. Your donkey shall be seized in front of you, and shall not be returned to you. Your sheep and goats shall be delivered to your enemies, and there shall be no one to recover them. Your sons and daughters shall be delivered to another people, with you watching. Your eyes shall pine for them, but you will be helpless. A people you do not know will eat of the produce of your soil and of your labor. You shall be abused and oppressed day in and day out. You shall be driven mad by what your eyes see. So basically, they coined a 1980s hip hop, or not coined, but to refer to a 1980s hip hop term. They stole or bit off of the formula of a treaty between an all too human rule dictator